Okay, so your book talks about all of this stuff about increasing efficiency and using different forms of silicon or even other types of materials. And in theory, we had said we should be able to get our percentage of efficiency up to 72%. In practice, says that the highest efficiency they've gotten to is 46%. Still not bad, but the problem with that is that if in order to let me see. In order to provide energy for an area the size of New Jersey, I don't know why they chose New Jersey, but anyway, in order to provide energy for using current technologies to an area the size of New Jersey, you would need photovoltaics to cover 85 miles by 85 miles. It's unpractical. That's a huge area, but we're getting there, as we had said. Now the other problem is, the other real major problem, of course, with solar is what? Nighttime, of course. So, you're not generating any power at night, of course. So you need batteries, and our next chapter actually we'll be talking about batteries, but we're not there yet. So the problem with the other major drawback to solar is that you have to have sunshine in order to generate energy. So what about some of these others? So we had said, we've got your nuclear power plants, and we said, oh, they're pretty darn dangerous. And, they could, dangerous for mankind going forward thousands of years. And then we've got your sunlight, and it's a really good source of energy. It's the primary source of energy for the earth. But we have other kinds of energy, right? The wind blows. And so, especially if you go over to the mountains, the Laurel Highlands, or down to western Maryland, you look along the ridges, they've got all these giant windmills, and they're a great way to capture energy that, the wind that's just blowing by. Now, the problem with those is I used to live down in that area, and I remember I was amazed when they were trucking the blades in. They're really huge. Each blade is 105 feet long. And so you got them sticking out in multiple directions. So, that's several hundred feet wide. And when you watch them turning, they don't look like they're turning that fast. But if you were to measure the speed at the wing at the tip, it's over 100 miles an hour. So the speed at the tip is going so fast that they do kill a lot of birds, so there's a downside to them as well. What else do we say? And it only makes sense in places where you have a lot of wind, regularly have a lot of wind. Now, there are other kinds of energy, the tides. The tides flow in and the tides flow out, always, on a regular basis, and they are being used as a source of energy to turn a turbine, water turning a turbine, as we had said. So that's a possibility as well. Hydroelectric, that's an old technology that still works beautifully. You put it on a river, and the water flowing turns a turbine. And then finally, there's another one that's a really good idea, but it's so expensive. I looked into it at one point. It's called geothermal. And what it involves is drilling a whole bunch of wells down into the water table and extracting the heat that's always present in groundwater, and so concentrating it. But you need a whole lot of wells, and each well costs thousands of dollars. And so when you talk about trying to heat your house with geothermal energy, the initial cost is some $40,000 or $50,000. So again, economics always comes into play with anything to do with with environmental science. Okay, so this is the end of chapter 6. We've covered a whole lot of material. I'm sure there may be things that I've missed that I want to stress, and so be sure to tune in on Monday morning and we'll fill in the gaps. All right, have a good weekend. See you then.